The thing is that I know for a fact I'm dumb. I'm not as smart as I want to be. Like, I have so limited knowledge compared to what I want to have, compared to what I am seeking. Yeah, I know that. My issue is that some dumb people that are not aware that they are dumb, right? Some dumb people that think they are smart feel that I am arrogant or I am rude or I am placing myself above them. No, I know I am dumb, yeah, but I am not as dumb as you. You understand? I know I am dumb. Yes, I know for a fact I am dumb. And the only reason I said I know I'm not as dumb as you is because I am fully aware that I am dumb. Yeah? But you are not aware that you are dumb. You think you are. See, the level at which you are thinking right now, the level in which your brain is processing, the level in which your thought is diving, I have passed that level. I'm not saying you have no new information from me, right, to learn from. I'm just saying almost all the knowledge you have, all your thought process, I have thought about it, thought about the thoughts about it. Like, I have lived in my mind so deeply that when you say something, after your first two sentences, I can guess the end of that sentence, of that whole conversation. Like, I can guess where your thought is headed. You understand? So it's not that I feel, oh, I'm somewhat special. No. The thing that pisses me is when they feel that they are smart when they are not. When it comes to psychology and life in general, right? I have thought about it so deeply that I have literally cried while thinking, laughed like a madman while thinking. I have joined bacteria to religion. I have joined, oh my goodness. I have thought about the human thought process. I have thought about my consciousness to a point that drives the normal average man insane. I have thought about thoughts that you have not thought about. I have asked questions that would make a God wet himself. I have literally, oh my, with all the time I have spent secluded just with me and my thoughts, asking myself questions, living different possibility, seeking different perspective in which to look at the world, psychological questions, philosophical questions. So when it comes to logical and critical thinking, right, I know I am a fool. I know I have the thing I want in life. I know I haven't gotten it yet. All the things I know I haven't gotten it yet. I know that compared to the knowledge I have and the knowledge I seek, oh my God, this is just like a droplet in the ocean. I am aware of that. But somebody that doesn't know that they are foolish, somebody that doesn't know that they don't even have a droplet yet, somebody that doesn't know the only thing they have been able to think about, the only thing that they have been able to think about is what society has imprinted on them. They literally feel that all their thoughts, everything that they are thinking about right now is them, is their own creation. They think is their own creation. Whereas me, I have come to a conclusion that most of the thoughts, the thought process, everything I am thinking about right now, most of it, it's not of my own volition. It's not my creation. I did not create this thought from zero. It's not mine. The society, the place I was birthed, the place I grew up, my formative years, so many scenarios added and played a big factor in most of my thoughts that I find myself questioning reality as a whole, as a whole, that since if I myself haven't formulated an original train of, like, I'm not talking about originality in the sense of making a few tweaks here and there. I'm not talking about some law of physics, which when you throw something up, it must go down, right? Which I'm still thinking about that. Let me not talk about it now. Yeah, let me not digress. So I'm asking myself, if the thought of a human is the most valuable thing a human has, and the person hasn't yet generated a truly original thought, can that person ever say they lived? Are they worthy enough to say they lived? Or can they say that they have anything of value? Like, because any great thing of value, because if your thought is not yours, what exactly do you have that is valuable? And if you don't have anything of value, how can you be proud or say, I have existed, when my train of thought isn't 100% original? Obviously, I know I'm a lost cause. This right now that I'm saying is a bunch of nonsense. Yeah, to most people, it's a very blended bunch. It's nonsense I am spilling out right now. Yes, but this my nonsense got me asking myself different questions, right? Got me deep diving into bacteria, because I started asking myself questions like, okay, what existed before humans? What can be found almost everywhere in the world? What is in the human body? What lives in space? It doesn't necessarily live there, but if I asked myself, if there are meteorites in space, if there are like gold and materials in space there, then something must be there that lives off them, that can survive there, that are there. What else? What answer did I come up with? Bacteria. Bacteria can be found in the ocean. They can eat metal. They can do this. They can do that. So I very, very crazy. I try to now ask myself, if bacteria existed before humans and basically they can survive by themselves, right? And they say God was created. I started thinking that there's a possibility that bacteria can literally, and what they call it, fight diseases, like fight all diseases. Like bacteria can literally be modified, be grown. I feel that, like the human brain, that the capacity, unused potential. I'm not talking about the spatial capacity, right? Like, obviously we use 100% of our spatial, the space in our brain, the thing that we. I'm trying to break it down for normal people to understand, but I'm talking about the potential, the maximum. You know that the brain uses like 20% of our energy, or I think it's more, I'm not sure. Then we don't have enough energy to supply the brain that our body will not destroy. So our brain cuts out different things. Like we can see a mile away or 2 miles away when it is complete dark and just a candle. Yeah, but when there's light, our brain tend to like limit our ability to see. Our brain tend to limit so many things, like our capabilities, right, is cut half just because it wants to keep us alive. We only use like 1% capability wise, like maximum capability wise, like 1% out of the 100, right? So, and I was now asking myself, what other organism hasn't yet reached its full? What other organism has a very high capability, potential wise? I guess where I landed, bacteria too. I'm on my head. I was not, because I want to actually see this world the way God sees it. It might be a very foolish dream. Yes, that's what I want to do. Like I cannot bear the fact that this is it. This illusion is it. It kills me every day. It literally kills me every day. When I wake up in the morning and I ask myself, is this it? Is this it? I found out that, okay, there are so many lights in this world that I cannot see. Spectrums of light out there looking at me, but I can't see them. One day, I was close to a standing fan, right? And I said something, or I played music. I've forgotten exactly what I did. But I noticed that the sound separated, like the fan pushed the sound in different angles. And in my head, I'm like, if the sound can move like this, that means sound might have shape when it's moving. Obvious, when it's moving from in the atmosphere, that means obviously it's obvious that there are invisible things in the air that we don't even see, that our brain literally takes in, like things in the air that our brain takes in, or we don't see it with our normal eyes, right? There are so many things there that we don't see. And I'm asking myself, all this beauty in this world, all this thin hair, so many things to be curious about, but humans just want to be wicked to themselves, just want to be right, just want to find themselves, just want to end themselves for what? It's so somebody like that comes to tell me that they know that their path is the right path in life, and they are so sure about it. Somebody so oblivious to the things that is happening around them, have no curiosity to the things that is happening around them, living with an imprinted idea in their head without the why. Somebody that's just there is trying to tell me that I should leave this train of thought. It's telling me that no, this train of thought is absurdity. That this train of thought is madness. I promise you, if this is madness, this is the type of madness I want to die in. Because madness to me is sitting here, going to your place of worship, spending money there, building a temple that people outside the gates cannot enter. Some people are starving. To me, that is madness. Madness is embezzling money that could have saved a lot of people, but you embezzled it. Madness is a thief stoning a prostitute to death. Madness is somebody that doesn't think deep enough to see that they themselves just played a game in someone else's football field. To me, madness is a mother in a third world country dying immediately a child is born because a politician preferred to buy an armored car, a bulletproof yacht, an airplane, and his or her husband cloth collection is worth more than $10,000, but there is no good infrastructure for healthcare. That is madness. That is complete insanity. That is absurdity at its peak. A whole nation doesn't have access to to have ground shaking research. They cannot do research. Oh my God. That is madness. You see, that is madness. That's why I say, when it even comes to religion, I love knowledge in religion. I read a lot of religion. I try to understand the the idea behind the religion. But the issue now is when these people, I say that they are dumb, but they don't know they are dumb, get access to that religion, they don't seek it with the knowledge, they enter it with full emotional blindness that it is so easy to manipulate them. So easy to manipulate, and they don't see it. So if this is madness, if my way of life is madness, I swear to God, anything that is true, I rather be so mad in my reality and die in this madness than live in that illusion that most of you guys are living in, thinking it's sanity. That illusion that most of you guys are living in. Oh God. And the thing that they don't see it. How can't they see it? That's the question I often ask, that if there is a God out there. That is why I don't. You created everybody in your own image, and the thing that haunts me is when I discover that some humans, right, are created with the incapability to actually process certain thoughts. Like literally, they are created with the incapability to think a certain way. Some people cannot comprehend some emotions. Some people cannot conceptualize certain things. That is how they are created. So my judgment, I cannot judge people sometimes because it's not their fault that they are like this. Sometimes their formative years, the place they are raised. You see somebody that is dirty, I want to be angry that this person is so dirty, this person is filthy, this person throws things on the road. But now, because of the knowledge I have acquired, I cannot, with my full chest, judge them. Because I know their environment played a huge factor, a huge role in creating that train of process. Because if the so-called government, I don't want to put the government, if somebody in their childhood taught them well, if they saw adults do it better, then they might not be that way. Because to them, they grew up in an environment where this is the norms. Their brain adjusted. So now I cannot judge them because they did not ask to be born that way. They did not ask to be born, but now you have grown, you should learn. But now again, this is where it comes in, this is where it's deep. Their formative years, actually, the way they think, it impaired it, that the way they reason and comprehend things, the way they even conceptualize things, the way they visualize things, the way they try to, like, it's, oh God. Then you now understand that some people, the way they reason, forget formative years, forget environmental aspect of it. Now, literally, the way they are created, their brain capacity and capability from birth, it was already destined that they might not be able to know certain things, think the certain way. So how do you want me to be angry with those type of people? Yes, they might not know it themselves, but I know it, and that's the pain there. When you start to go deep in trying to understand the life, when you try to understand life, seek knowledge, it's like you really cannot really hate anymore, because you find yourself in a whole mess. You find yourself asking so many questions, so many unanswered questions, trying to mix religion with reality, with science.